occasion. And the Lashonas that are used by the Rebbe right at the Siyum, at the Sikha, are very important for us, that we should know them. So rather than we start with things which are not so get to us, not get to that, I decided that we would start with Sif Dalet, which is on page, in the printable thing that I have here, it's 89. It's Omud 89. And on the right column, you have there a Daled, and it says, V'yesh lohisi b'mailos hayoyim. Now, up to now, the Rebbe has spoken mostly, first of all, he began with a statement, when I get to the Gula Shlema, that all of our activities and all of the center of all of our efforts should be towards bringing the Gula Shlema b'Poel Mam. And he repeats how the fact that he's been ma'ir on this many times, that the Ikka of the whole Aveda B'der Seinu Zeh is only to bring the Gula b'Poel Mam. And then he goes on, the fact that this was said in Kovches Nisan Toshin Nun Aleph, and the Rebbe deals with the Rosh HaTevas of Toshin Nun Aleph, Tehei Shnas Niflois Areno. What is going on, the Rebbe was Machriz at the beginning of Toshin Nun Aleph, that was the periods of the Rosh HaTevas Toshin Nun Aleph, and that's based on the pasuk in Micha Hanovi, whereby Micha says that Kiyamei Tzeishko Me'eretz Mitzrayim Arenu Niflois. But that's a pasuk dealing with the Gula Shlema, that the Gula Shlema will be, it'll have certain similarities or basic connections with Tzeishko Me'eretz Mitzrayim, but it will be in Oivun Arenu Niflois. But the word Arenu, Mitzad Echad, is a personal approach to all hearers. I will show you. However, on the other hand, the word Arenu is not Arecho or Are Etchem, but it's Arenu. What Arenu is what's called in Loshen Kodesh or Loshen Nista. For example, if I talk to Moshe and I say, I'm talking, do you know how are you doing? That's called Loshen Neichach. But if I say, well, he is over there, I'm not referring to anybody in particular, that's called Loshen Nista. What Nista meant like hidden. If I say that day, that day can be talking about a day that's not in front of us right now. But if I say this day, then I'm referring to, that's called Neichach, and that's called Nista. So the word Arenu is Nista. So the Rebbe said that indicates a very high madrega in Elkuz, that it's so high that it can't come in a personal way. It's going to be revealed, but it's going to be so high that it'll be like, in its revelation, it'll be hidden. It'll be so high and beyond the ordinary receiver. And that's the union of Arenu and Niflois. And the year, Tov Reish Nun Aleph, carries that Rosh HaTevas. However, ultimately speaking, it does imply that the Niflois, the great wonders of the Geula, Arenu, are going to be actually revealable to the world, and the world will be able to, as it were, experience them lamata in the world. They won't be hidden in some way Elyon or an oven that they're not noticeable. It's just that in their being noticeable, they're going to be very tremendously high level compared to, it says, Mitzrayim itself. So that's basically the message that the Rebbe gave over, and then he spoke about the Mile of Chodesh Nisan. In general, what Nisan is Meloshen Nisim, and Benisan Hasidim Lehigoyel, according to the Medrash. And then he dealt with the fact that Kov Zayin Nisan is 3 times 9, and 9 itself is 3 times 3. So you got 3 times 3 is 9, then you got 3 times 9 is 27. So that means Chazoka, Sheba Chazoka, the Gemara says in Bava Metzia that Begimel Pomim Hovi Chazoka, like it becomes an assumed fixed value if it happens 3 times. But if it happens 3 times 3 and then 3 times 3 times 3, then it's become a Chazoka, over Chazoka, over Chazoka. And that means that all good things and all inyanim which have to do with the revelation of Hashem are all being repeated in a good way 3 times over, which means that they all have a chazaka, that they're fixed in the world and they're not going to leave it. And that's Kov Zayin, listen. Kov Ches is a day after that, a step further towards the Geula, and that's Inyan from Koyach. As regards the Inyan from Kov Zayin is Zach. What Zach is Inyan from purity, but Koyach means an expression B'Pelman. So that's basically the message that we had up till now. And now in Sif Daled, the Rebbe says, V'yesh lo ha'isi b'maylas hayoyim mitzad ha'kesher v'ha'shaylas la'yomim haboyim. The Rebbe said that we can add a further explanation to the great mila of this day of 28th of Nisan if we look at the connection that it has with the days that immediately follow it. In other words, we find many times in Yiddishkeit that a day has a certain value because it leads into the days that come after it. Therefore, it has a certain value. For example, we take Erev Shabbos. Erev Shabbos is a busy day and a very trying day for some people, but Erev Shabbos has a great milah in that it prepares for Shabbos. And without Erev Shabbos, you can't have anything on Shabbos, as the Gemara says in Masechta Avodah Zarah, Misha Torah be'erev Shabbos, Yechol b'Shabbos. But if you're not Torah be'erev Shabbos, then you're not going to have what to eat on Shabbos. And that's also a Inyan Ruchni, that if you make efforts on the erev Shabbos or the days before Shabbos, then you will literally eat. And Ruchni is also on Shabbos. And so therefore, there's a certain connection with certain days. Their importance because they lead to other days. So the Rebbe said, Mi Kov Ches Nisan, if we take that value, then we come into Kov Tes Nisan. Kov Ches Nisan is like an Erev of Kov Tes. So he says, Erev Rosh Chodesh Iyar, Shenikra Yom Kippur Kotom, that the Erev, the eve of Rosh Chodesh is called Yom Kippur Koton. Now, Yom Kippur Koton is something that's not mentioned. The custom of Yom Kippur Koton is not mentioned in the early period commentators. In the Rishonim, we don't find it. But in the Great Acharonim, we find that they bring down a minhag that on Erev Rosh Chodesh, you should make a fast, and you should be chayzer b'tshuva, and you should be ma'ir, all sorts of tefillas v'tachanunim, and you should ask, both for the world in general and for yourself in particular, but that you have requests of the Eibishter, and you pray for the benefit of Yidden in general, and for their matzav, and for the world. So this is brought down in our great poisek of the Sfaradim called the Pri Chodesh. He's one of the first people that mentions this whole minhag, and it's also brought down in the Shloh HaKodesh. What the Shloh is more well known to us, that the Shloh lived his latter years in Tiberia, and that's where he's buried, and he was a very great koyach in all aspects of Torah, both in Nista and in Chakira, and in Halacha, and in Drush, and you name it, he has it in the famous Sefer the Shloh, the Shlei Luchas HaBrit. So in the Sefer, Shlei Luchas HaBrit, he brings down this minhag of making a small Yom Kippur every year of Rosh Chodesh. And so it's called Yom Kippur Koton. And he brings down that, and in Bnei Brak in Jerusalem and other places, well, certain people here in Tzfas do it. It's not a minig in above. It's interesting, the Rebbe brings it indeed on the footnotes. And if you look up the footnotes in their original source, there's quite a lot of dealing with it, even though the minig in above it is not actually to do that, keep it. But it's interesting, the Rebbe refers to it here in depth. So from Kof Ches Nisan, we would go normally into Kof Tes, and Kof Tes is Erev Rosh Chodesh Iyar. But this particular year, which is similar to our year, from Kof Ches we move into Shabbos. And Shabbos is Erev Rosh Chodesh. So you can't make Yom Kippur Koton on Shabbos. So what do? You put it off till Thursday and Friday. Most people do it on Thursday, but Friday is also not an easy day to have the public fasting. So therefore he said that Mikof Ches Nisan Boim Mikof Tes Nisan, which is Erev Rosh Chodesh Iyar, Shenikra Yom Kippur Koton. Me'ein v'dugmas inyona shel Yom Kippurim. Why is it called Yom Kippur Koton? Because it must have a similarity, and it must be very close to the end of Yom Kippur in general. So the Rebbe said, Im Kain, we know about Yom Kippur, that Yom Kippur is the day of Kaviohol, Hashem's marriage with the Jewish people. Because Moshe Rabbeinu brought down the second Luchos, and he gave them to Yidden on Yom Kippur. As well known, he came down finally from the third time on the mountain. He came down on Yom Kippur. So in that regard, Yom Kippur can be called the day of the wedding, and that's what the Mishnah in Masechta Tainis, right at the end of Masechta Tainis, that's what the Mishnah said. Yeah, that Yom Kippur is Yom Chasanosei. Yom HaKippurim Shenitna Boi Luchos Achareinot. Yom Kippur is the day of the marriage, because that's the day when we were given the Luchos Achareinot, that the full perfection of that day will be dafka in the redemption to come. Then there'll be the Emerson marriage. In other words, it is brought down in Exodus that when Moshe came from the mount, it was also a union of Knesset Israel, but it was like what you might call an engagement. It was like the how do you call it, the Tnoim. It was like what we call Erusin. Abu Nesuyin Mamish, absolute marriage, that will be when Moshiach will come. So from that we see that the end of Yom Kippur has got a shaykhs to the Gula Shleima, and it's got a shaykhs with the whole connection of Yidden with a Kodesh Baruch Hu, but there are Yichud over Erusin or Nesuyin. So therefore, Erev Rosh Chodesh Iyar, which is Yom Kippur Koton, that's got a shaykhs to Yom Kippur. And Yom Kippur has a shaykhs to the marriage of the Kodesh Baruch Hu with Yidden, and that's got a shaykhs with the Geula. That brings us to the end of the Geula. Umemenu Boim Rosh Chodesh. From that we come from Erev Rosh Chodesh to Rosh Chodesh. And what's in of Rosh Chodesh? Moiled Halavona. Rosh Chodesh is the day what the Lavona becomes reborn. Because on Erev Rosh Chodesh, the Lavona goes down to nothing, and then on Rosh Chodesh, it gets reborn. So the inyan of Rosh Chodesh is the birth of the Lavona. But Dukmosi be Yisrael, and that is very similar to Yidden, and they are like a living example of that. Yes, Shadimim Lavona, because the Yidden, this happens every time, nobody seems to realize that it's going to happen.